Hi everyone, it's Erin from the Provincial Farmhouse. Today I'm doing a video for the Paint Couture creative team. For my project today, I'm going to be using this 8cm in diameter Christmas ornament. You can already see that I have put a coat of Paint Couture's 2-in-1 primer in white down. Now I'm going in with a second coat on a makeup sponge. I'm dabbing that second coat on. I am going to give that about an hour to dry. This is going to help my paint to stick to the surface. I'm then going to be using Paint Couture's Farmhouse Linen Chalk Paint. I'm going to be applying 2 coats of this beautiful color. This is sort of like an off-white. I like to do this. It tends to give ornaments a bit more of a vintage look. When my 2 coats of Farmhouse Linen Chalk Paint were dry, I took out IOD's Yuletide transfer. This is from their Christmas release from last year. I really liked the Cardinals on this particular page. So here I'm just working out if they are going to fit properly. And then I went in and carefully cut out those beautiful birds. For the back, I decided to cut out these beautiful poinsettia flowers on the back. I thought that they would look great in the center. I then went in and trimmed off those little leaves that were in the center there. I wanted the cardinals to sit either side of the part where the hanging attachment's going to go. I then also took out my scissors again and made some little dart cuts just to make adding the transfer to a curved surface a bit easier. I then removed the backing from the transfer and positioned the cardinals in the center, and then I'm going to be working in sections using the transfer stick that comes in the pack to rub that transfer down. I'm also picking up the plastic carrier sheet there as I'm rubbing, lifting it up slowly. If I miss an area, I'm able to put that back down and just continue rubbing, and I just repeated those steps until I had that entire transfer down. I then used the carrier sheet to gently further burnish it. On the back, I repeated the same process. This was a little bit of a smaller design, so I didn't have to make any of those dart cuts, but I did work in small sections just like with the other one, just making sure that I have all those different little sections down. Now I am going to get a couple of wrinkles here and there, but that can't be avoided on a curved surface, unfortunately. To seal my transfers, I'm using Paint Couture's Extreme Guard in Satin. I'm going to be applying 2 even coats. This is going to seal and protect my transfers, and it's also going to seal that chalk paint underneath. When that was dry, I took out this little Belle fondant mold. I'm dusting the center one with cornstarch, and then I'm working my DAS air dry clay into it, flexing it and pulling it out. This is going to sit up the top. I love using this one in my Christmas crafts. And then I took out IOD's primitive mold. I'm dusting the delicate trim that's down the bottom, and then I'm rolling my DAS air dry clay into a sort of sausage shape, and then I am pushing it and working it into that mold, pushing out the excess with my fingers. I'm then going to flex the mold to help it release from the sides and then gently pull it out. To attach my molds to the surface, I'm using some Sealy's Quick Set wood glue. I'm going to arrange that around the outer edge of the ornament. I'm then going to adjust it a little bit. I want to leave a bit of a gap up the top because I want to bring in some other molds. I'm next going to be using IOD's Holly Lane mold. This is quite an older retired design. Any kind of holly mold would definitely work for this if you're going to give it a try. I'm going to dust the design that I want with cornstarch. In this case, I'm doing a partial casting of the end there, and here I'm working out how it's going to fit, and then I'm adding some more of my glue to the back and gently pressing that down. I'm then going to cast some more of the holly that I think will fit up the top. I just wanted a little bit. I didn't want to overwhelm the design, but I felt like this would tie in with the beautiful cardinal scene and the back that we have already. So I've got those 2 pieces there sorted out. So I'm going to add some of my glue to the back of that and glue those in place. I'm also going to glue that bell design in place, but I am going to have it a little bit away from the surface so that my hanging attachment will still fit. I also then went in and did a couple more castings of the holly. I want to make sure that I continue that design around the back section of the ornament. This is a double-sided piece, so I want to make sure that I am having that consistent look around the back as well. Once I had all of my castings glued down, I let them dry for several hours, and then I took out Paint Couture's Crackle Step 1. I'm going to be applying it over the top of the section that has the cardinals first. I'm applying an even layer. I'm not going to go over the top of my castings. I really just want this detail on the flat surface over the cardinals and of course over the poinsettias on the back. I let the step 1 dry for about 30 minutes and then came in with Crackle step 2. So step 1 needs to feel sticky and tacky to the touch, and then you come in with step 2. This is a thicker mixture and I am applying it in the exact same places that I have that Crackle step 1. Once I'm finished applying Crackle step 1, I did give this about an hour to dry. You definitely want to make sure that it's completely set. Next, I took out Paint Couture's Light Brown Sugar Antiquing Glaze. I'm going to begin by focusing the glaze on my castings. These have had several hours to dry, so there is a crust formed. I am still being gentle. I am really working the glaze into the details of these castings, and then I'm using a wet wipe to pull them back from the high points. This is definitely something I love to do. I feel that it gives the project depth. It also creates more definition on the castings. So I'm just going in, wiping back that excess, and then I'm going to continue to add the glaze to the trim around the outside, just like before, brushing that on and then wiping back the excess. Once I finished wiping it away from the castings, I did then start applying it over the crackle sections. You can see I'm going in quite light. I really just want to have that hint of age. I definitely want to have the glaze reveal those beautiful cracks that we were able to create with the crackle medium. Then moving on to adding it to the cardinal section. Again, I don't want to go in too heavy. I just want that hint of age. When the glaze was completely dry, I took out Paint Couture's Amazon Luxe Metallic. I'm going to be using a small artist brush to go in and paint over the top of the greenery on the bow mold there. And then I'm going to be moving on to adding that Amazon to the holly leaf details. I'm not going all the way down into the crevices of the casting. I want that light brown sugar antiquing glaze to still give those castings definition. I'm just going to continue to work my way around the holly leaves. If I get any on any of the other areas, I can use a wet wipe to wipe that back quickly. I only ended up needing to do one coat of that Amazon on the holly leaves, and then I took out Paint Couture's Cardinal Red Luxe Metallic Paint. I'm going to be adding that over the top of the beautiful holly berries, just going in again with a small artist brush, just really focusing that beautiful cardinal red there on those berries. If I inspire you to try any of the Paint Couture products used in today's video, I would really appreciate it if you would use my affiliate link. I will put it in the description below. I'll just get a little thank you from Paint Couture in return. I only did one coat of the Cardinal Red on the berries, and then I moved on and started gently dabbing little bits of that Cardinal Red over the top of the berries that were on the transfer that we added. I felt like adding this definitely brought the design in the center together with the castings up the top. I also then decided to repeat the same process, adding that Cardinal Red to the berry details on the transfer on the back of the ornament as well. When that was dry, I took out Paint Couture's Antique Gold Luxe Metallic. I'm going to be focusing this on the trim around the outside edge of the ornament. I'm just going to go in, and I am focusing on the sides as well. I want to be able to see this beautiful metallic from the front and back of the ornament, not just on the side. So I'm going to work my way around applying that. I did end up doing 2 coats to get the coverage that I wanted on the trim detail. And then I went in and added it to the bells as well. I also added just a hint of the gold to the center of each of the poinsettias on the back. Finally, I did decide to go in and add that Cardinal Red to the bow detail that was with the bell casting up the top there. Once that was dry, I added the hanging attachment back in place, being careful not to damage the castings. And as I was looking at it, I felt like it didn't really tie in with the project the way that I wanted. So I decided to take out my antique gold again, and I am doing 2 coats of this straight over the top of the plastic. And I was definitely happy with the way it tied in once I'd finished that. The last step was to add a hanging attachment back in place and tie a knot. And here's a look at our finished Christmas ornament for Christmas in July. I think this turned out really sweet. All of the Paint Couture products worked beautifully with IOD molds and transfers. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, remember to hit that like button, comment, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the videos from the Paint Couture creative team. Thanks for watching.